Everybody, want to take you to the United States. This is a really disturbing report for you. There's been a rise in the prominence of armed militia groups in recent months. Among them is the black militia organisation, they're known as the Nfac. The leader of the group has told Sky News that carrying weapons during their protests is a necessity. Here's a report from Cordelia Lynch.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Did you check the sign?
This is the NFAC, a black militia group.
Y'all know what our rules of engagement are, right? We don't point our weapons at nobody unless they point them at you, and if they do,
kill them.
Armed, aggrieved, and increasingly visible in America.
One of my jobs is to protect the identity of our members.
Grandmaster Jay is the group's leader.
We're going to prove to the world that we can be just as organized, just as disciplined, just as well armed, just as determined as any standing military of any government.
Why do you think it's necessary to carry weapons?
The police carry weapons. Weapons were invented to defend oneself. So it is only common sense that we carry weapons to defend ourselves. It is not a question, it is a necessity.
How would you describe the state of race relations in America right now?
Pathetic. There's no other word. It's pathetic. It has deteriorated to a place that is reminiscent of the early 60s. It is reminiscent of Jim Crow. It is reminiscent of the Lynch era. It is reminiscent of the days of the Ku Klux Klan.
He claims, unlike other militia groups, they haven't been charged with any crimes.
Nope, they haven't.
Everything that we've done has been within the confines of the Constitution. The day that the NFAC steps over the line, it will be because the line was already stepped over for us first.
That eye for an eye ethos is, he says, motivated by police brutality and racial injustice.
It is the aftermath and the incidents themselves. It's not just the fact that they shot us. It's that once we're shot, as in the case of Breonna Taylor, there's this feet dragging and there's this lack of sense of urgency.
In Louisville, Kentucky, they see progress, a settlement for Breonna Taylor's family. The 26-year-old was killed by police, and a grand jury decision expected imminently.
If they decide they don't want to charge anyone, of course they've got to explain that, not only to the population that's there, but also to all of the other members of the legislature that have given this wide focus. Why? And if you can show us in the law why you couldn't do that, then we have to live with that.
Others might not. This is a year dominated by confrontation, and this week could easily bring more. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News.
Wow.
Goodness.
Wow.
More about that.
Okay. A lot to unpack there. I was told to watch Sky News, and I just had it running until I was told, you'll know. My daughter sent me a link. You'll know what to watch. You know when it's on. Okay. So wow. Nfac on Sky News. Okay. So basically, a little bit to unpack there, right? That was Cordelia Lynch, and it sounded like she had a pretty decent. I mean, she was asking some of the stupid questions that they're told to ask, okay, but she did it in a really deadpan way. So I think that interview went down quite cordially. It's the beginning. It's the Kay Burley part. Kay Burley is the attack dog, right? And if you don't understand what just went down, let me do a little bit of translation for you. Kay Burley is the Fox News element that they're transplanting onto British journalism. Check this out, okay? Let me just break this down for you, how that went, because there was a lot of unspoken communication going on there. So check this out. Right. So wow, Nfac on Sky News this morning, and they've done a little bit of a in-depth, and that speaks volumes. Because if you ask me, that sounded pretty. That interview sounded pretty level. Sounded pretty level. It wasn't slanted. I don't believe it was a slanted interview, and otherwise Jay would have felt a little bit more uncomfortable with the stupid questions. Listen
Hello
to
again,
this.
everybody. Want to take you to the United States. This is a really disturbing report for you. There's been a rise in the prominence of...
Hold on, a really disturbing report. Really? Was it Kay? Was it a really disturbing report? Because I thought that went down. I had to shut my mouth and I let it go by. And I thought that was actually quite a good interview. But it's a really disturbing report. Okay, listen to this as well.
Armed militia groups in recent months. Among them is the black militia organisation, they're known as the Nfac. The leader of the group has told Sky News that carrying weapons during their protests is a necessity. Here's a report from Cordelia.
Okay, so like that. Okay, English was only 50% of that conversation, right? You have to the vocal intonation. You can Kay Burley can legitimately get away with because we don't have guns en masse like you do in America. So just to say, he says carrying guns routinely is a necessity. Now you can say it in that take the piss mode because everybody here do not carry weapons as standard. So you can say it in that kind of deprecating, the nigger says, and then also at the end it was like, let's go over and talk to him like the nigger's talking stupidness. Let's send one of our let's go and find out what he's talking about. Right? Listen.
That carrying weapons during their protests is a necessity. Here's a report from.
Here's a report like it's a necessity. Well, only not. Here's a report from Cordelia. Right? Let's go into it.
Cordelia Lynch.
Cordelia Lynch.
First rank. Take 2 steps forward.
This is the NFAC, a black militia group.
Y'all know what our rules of engagement are, right?
Yeah.
We don't point our weapons at nobody unless they point them at you. And if they do, kill them.
Armed, aggrieved.
Aggrieved! Armed and aggrieved. That means we're aggrieved. They're armed and they're aggrieved. Words mean things. Yeah, they're armed and they're aggrieved. They're running around with a massive chip on their shoulder with a gun as well. Ooh, be careful.
And increasingly visible in America.
And there's another one over. There's one of them black ones over there. They're popping up everywhere. Oh, look. Hold on. Oh, Cordelia goes to, this is where Jay lives. This is where Grandmaster Jay lives.
One of my jobs is to protect the identity of our members.
Grandmaster Jay is the group's leader.
We're going to prove to the world that we can be just as organized, just as disciplined, just as well armed, just as determined as any standing military of any government.
Why do you think it's necessary?
Ladies and gentlemen, right? Like, ladies and gentlemen, like that's where he lives, yeah? Do you see, like, the lake and the houses on the other side? That's where Grandmaster Jay lives. And, like, that's a black neighborhood. Because I was watching one of his lives the other day, and he was driving through, and there was a white guy that was running through that neighborhood carrying, like, an axe. And, like, he was just thinking to himself, look, man, right now I've got weapons on me. I could pull up and do an armored Aubrey. What's the white guy doing running through this exclusively black neighborhood? That, ladies and gentlemen, in America, is an exclusively black neighborhood, and he wants to leave that. He wants to leave that. I mean, I'm quite prepared to set up a new nation and go somewhere else because I pretty much had it with my time in the UK. But he wants to leave that. I can't see any ghetto ducks in the background. I can't see any ghetto ducks. So this must have been later on in the afternoon. But he's being interviewed by Cordelia Lynch. And one thing I noticed about Cordelia, she asked some stupid questions, but she did it in a very deadpan way. Like, you know, this is the normal shit I have to ask you. So she didn't do it in that deprecating English journalist, just like almost as though Nfac are one of the baboons. And here in the jungle, we have Nfac. Nfac occasionally feed. And routinely, do you know what I mean? They're not. That's the British piss-taking way. The male will copulate with the young, right? That's how they'll interview you when they're trying to take the piss out of you. Like, here's NFAC, a new organization, and I heard them sound like that on the first British one that I heard. That's a subtle way of taking the piss. It's a new creature on the planet, and we're investigating, right? So, but this one, Cordelia's questions were a lot more kind of just deadpan. I think it came across a lot more civilized. Listen.
necessary to carry weapons?
So let
The
me,
police.
let me go
Of
back a bit.
armed militia groups in recent months.
Let's
Among
take
them
it Kay
is
Burley
the
again.
black militia organisation, they're known as the Nfac.
Yeah.
The leader of the group has told Sky News that carrying weapons during their protests is a necessity. Here's a report from Cordelia Lynch.
First rank, take 2 steps forward.
This is the NFAC,
Shootout.
a black militia group.
Y'all know what our rules of engagement are, right? We don't point our weapons at nobody unless they point them at you. And if they do,
Armed, aggrieved,
Aggrieved.
and increasingly visible in America.
one of my jobs is to protect the identity of our members.
Grandmaster Jay is the group's leader.
We're going to prove to the world that we can be just as organized, just as disciplined,
And can I just
as
say-
well armed, just as determined.
Absolutely, and the whole point, the manner in which Sky News, and check the deepness, the manner in which Sky News is decently approaching this subject matter just goes to show that a lot of the other American militias that they've gone to investigate, they were considered a bit of a joke. Because they were done in that David Attenborough, like, here we have the Boogaloo Boys, an armed group who say, do you know what I mean? That sort of style. That's when they're taking the piss out of you. They didn't exude that level of arrogance when talking to Grandmaster Jay. I didn't get that from Cordelia Lynch. It was done, I mean, she did ask the stupid question in a very deadpan way, but you have to understand the difference in which they have just approached Nfac in the interview style as they would have with some of the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys and the Angry Viking. When they do their stuff, here we have an Angry Viking. The Angry Viking will feed and make a new home for himself. He will molt in the summer, right? That's how they've done the others. They haven't done that to Nfac. So peep game, right? Peep the game.
As any standing military of any government.
Why do you think it's necessary to carry weapons?
The police carry.
Right, stupid question, but you know, if it was a different English, they would have gone, why would you have thought it's necessary for you to carry weapons? I mean, even after all the killings, you know, all the hashtags that we've seen, all the deaths that we've seen coming out of America. It's a good thing Cordelia didn't ask that question in that really stupid take the piss man. Why would you feel? See, what they didn't approach Grandmaster Jay in that manner. Come on now.
Carry weapons. Weapons were invented to defend oneself. So it is only common sense that we carry weapons to defend ourselves. It is not a question. It is a necessity.
How would you describe the state of race relations in America right now?
Pathetic.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, see, here's the iron fist in the velvet glove. Cordelia Lynch is the velvet glove. Oh, hi. Kay Burley is the bum iron fist. These niggers have got guns, bum. It's disturbing, bum. And then Cordelia's like, yeah, hi, what does you guys do? Yeah, okay, yeah, and what's the state of race relations? Okay, and then Kay Burley goes, niggers, bump, like, okay, that's the dynamic being played out here for the people, for the couch surfers in the UK.
There's no other word. It's pathetic. It has deteriorated to a place that is reminiscent of the early 60s.
Yep.
It is reminiscent of Jim Crow.
Yep.
It is reminiscent of the Lynch era. It is reminiscent of the days of the Ku Klux Klan.
He claims, unlike other militia groups, they haven't been charged with any crimes.
Everything that we've done has been within the confines of the Constitution. The day that the NFAC steps over the line, it will be because the line was already stepped over for us first.
Damn right.
That eye for an eye ethos is, he says, motivated by police brutality and racial injustice.
It is the aftermath and the incidents themselves.
It's not an eye for an eye ethos. It's justice. It's not an eye for an eye ethos. You've done something to me, so I'm going to do something to you. No, that's not. I see. That was the slickness there, Cordelia. I picked up on that. Trying to be slick, eye for an eye. It's not. It's trying to ensure justice happens.
not just the fact that they shot us. It's that once we're shot, as in the case of Breonna Taylor, there's this feet dragging and there's this lack of sense of urgency.
In Louisville, Kentucky, they see progress, a settlement for Breonna Taylor's family. The 26-year-old was killed by police, and a grand jury decision expected imminently.
If they decide they don't want to charge anyone, of course, they've got to explain that.
Yep.
Not only to the population that's there, but also to all of the other members of the legislature that have given this wide focus. Why? And if you can show us in the law why you couldn't do that, then we have to live with that.
Others might not. This is a year dominated
right.
by confrontation, and this week could easily bring more. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News.
Wow. Wow. If you ask me, I mean, there was a couple of slick things they tried to slide in. An eye for an eye. They're aggrieved because that's standard deprecating of anything positive black people try. But for the most part, Grandmaster Jay was given a pretty fair shake of the whip right there. Do you know why? Because anyone can go back into the archives and pull up the BBC interview style for the Boogaloo Boys or the Proud Boys, where here we have the Boogaloo Boys. The Boogaloo Boys will forage for Negroes for confrontation. Do you understand that they didn't do that to Grandmaster Jay? Nfac on Sky News. Hey, looking pretty good, man. Looking badass. Yeah, I'm loving it.